Transmitting to you from Old Heart Radio.
Welcome to Local Yokelz. No, we're just gonna go. Bad intros all around. Just for posterity's sake, I believe this is episode 23 of Local Yokelz. I am back with two powerhouses. I got Troy Hollywood Vines, and I got Master Dusty Gill sitting down here in the house, in the proverbial Zoom house. Boys, what it is.
Saturday, bro.
It's Saturday. Yes, fair. So Dusty informed me that he went to Costco and bought a pallet full of paste salsa because Nick's gonna fail us all while bringing this salsa next
Henry
weekend.
hates the paste picante, and I don't get it. It's $5 for two giant things. You can't beat that.
I don't mind paste. It's not a bad brand.
I don't mind paste either. It does the job, you know. It's a salsa.
Exactly. It's a chips and salsa.
Is that the stuff you would always use for your infamous dip?
Oh shit!
Oh, that reminds me. I should make some up for next weekend.
Dude, whap up a batch of dip,
Yes.
man.
And then he's gonna be forced to eat it in that dip. And when he says he likes it, then he's a hypocrite.
It's a trap there. There you go.
You've been duped. Yeah.
What else is, Dusty? What else is in the dip? I mean, I don't mean you don't even have to divulge
It's-
secrets if you don't
It's
want
it
to.
all
but-
is literally cream cheese and salsa, but it's
Yeah.
every person like that has had it. They're like, "What the fuck is this? Why is this so good?" And it's two ingredients.
Oh, dude, it's so true though. I remember that shit. It's tasty as fuck. Just some,
Yeah.
some paste and some
Yeah,
cream cheese.
I mean, I usually would only make it around the holidays, just because you're literally just taking chipfuls of cream cheese.
But it's so good.
It's so
just hits.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, it hits. What's your Saturday been like, Mr. Vines?
I was at work today.
Ah, yes, same.
That extra pay.
Yeah. Get the overtime, double time pay on Saturdays.
Oh shit.
It's money day.
Yeah, dude, that fucking stacks. That's nice. Hell yeah. Yeah, Saturdays are usually just another work day for me. Slinging vanilla lattes to the crowd.
You got that pumpkin spice going?
We do. And you know, this is gonna go off on a tangent. I usually don't defend pumpkin spice lattes because a lot of the flavors just kind of like blah. But we finally got at my shop. We finally got this really like nice, like thick, like spicy pumpkin sauce. That's like, it's also sweet, but it just tastes, it like nails that like pumpkin pie like flavor. You know what I mean? It's so good. It's so good. So I'm not plugging shit. I'm just saying like, yes, we do serve pumpkin, and I'm kind of all right with it.
Oh no! That's what happens when you get past the age of 30.
Oh
You
yeah.
start getting into all that commercial shit, and you're like, "God damn it, they were right with the pumpkin spice."
I'm a sucker. It's okay, dude. I'm all down with that peppermint mocha too. You know what I mean? I got sucked into that a long time ago.
God. Just don't even have any like holiday messages on the cups. That might cause controversy.
No. What can you say? What? Happy. Say, just write that on there.
Just draw a picture of a snowflake.
Yeah.
That's gonna offend somebody. Like, what do you think, I'm a snowflake?
Hey, global warming's real. Yeah, I'll just be like, Yeah, what? There's no neutral on that anymore. You just not even the red cup was able to pull it off. Remember that?
Yeah,
like it was just like a regular red cup.
That's too offensive.
People drink out of Solos all the time.
Yeah, it's true. The red, the communism, red state.
That might be it. Some deep-seated the red fear still among us.
Red dawn.
Yeah. Dude, I thought I heard some planes buzzing overhead earlier. I was prepared.
Yeah.
Man, like up here at our on the job site, because the Moses Lake Airport's not too far away, and they have military jets and stuff fly over, and
Oh yeah.
there was like 2 of those big aircraft or like cargo planes that flew over,
Yeah.
and it was just like, and then they had 2 fighter jets like right after them. And then, like later that day, there was a train with a bunch of like tanks and army vehicles and stuff going by. They're like, "Oh my God, are we invading Syria? What's going on?"
Yeah, they're dusting it all off. It's time. Roll
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Seriously though, like, yeah, I mean, like, I guess we live kind of close to Lewis McCord.
Mhm.
Like close enough to like when they do their trainings over here, like we can definitely hear that. Like they'll have like helicopters that like do like circle routes
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Training shit.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes you can hear them doing artillery training if you're like kind of deeper in Oli, but like it's like these like random just booms like. But it reminds me of like this, like how people used to do that shit with in the orchards and stuff like that. They
Yeah.
like, have like some sort of like
Just
noise or
those
something that would just
cannons.
go all night.
Yeah. Keep the birds away.
Yeah. I was like, it's not that big of a deal.
You just see these fucking just
Man. Yeah, it's interesting.
classic
That's-
Wenat G.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I was trying to figure out where we left off, Troy, with your like journey into music, and we obviously are kind of like, I think we met a wall with the Jay Schmouder El Capitan.
Yeah, I think that's about where we left off at. Yeah.
Yeah, which Dusty, you're the perfect person to join us in on this adventure, this journey through time and space.
The origins.
Yeah, so that's why I was trying to like Schmouder got like, how did, in your opinion, like in your view, when did Schmouder like really come to formation? Like there is Yumi and
Like
Rex doing
like the early like, well, it was like what, 2 hours before a show. Like I don't know who signed us up for a fucking open mic night
that would have been me.
that we were like not prepared at all for, and we're just the Vines establishment like well, let's just go into the back bedroom and start playing our acoustic guitars.
Yeah, dude.
And just like came up with like 2 songs on the fly, and then we're like, cool, let's just cover this random part of Beazle Boss. Like,
Yeah, it wasn't even like, it was like a
just
chunk
like
of it.
a middle portion of that song. Like, what? The probably was like, what is this?
That's probably exactly how Wavra felt when I sang like Kickapoo for that play audition, like way back in the day.
He's
Just
like, why is he
the fuck?
changing his voice, and what the hell? But no, I think it was that night.
Yeah,
And I don't really remember
mic
what
pressure.
made us go to a full band, other than there was like this 420 show at like Centennial Park,
Yeah,
and we had already written like Mantar and a couple other things, like Filippo's by the pool,
I think
but
Filippo's by the pool sounds
yeah.
so luxurious.
I don't know. 'Cause Nick wasn't in it at this point. I think maybe Aaron Fox played with us for that show or something like that.
Well, I honestly, I can't. I like, we'd have to call up Rex on that one. I wish we could phone him in at the moment, but
Phone a friend.
phone a friend. But
Just need to get the hotline going.
I think like the need, like we were kind of all like, I think like we were gearing towards like full band the entire time, and that's like by the time we decided like we had enough like stuff to maybe like pursue, I think like doing like the recording. It was like almost like, you know, how can we keep roping in like anything and anybody? Troy, like, when did you start in the band? Like, when did you come into the fold? And, like, 'cause it wasn't just for the recording process, I don't think, was it?
It had to have been for that show.
It was for
can't
that
really do
Centennial
acoustic there.
Yeah, no, it was for that Centennial show was when I first, because I mean, you didn't have that many songs.
No. We probably were still kicking around like what, like Fueled by Magic.
Passions of the Schnauder.
God.
Passions, or the
I always forget about
Knowing is Half the Battle. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Knowing.
Because we did have acoustic recordings of those, I believe, and I think those are lost to time. But I remember recording them in the Dix's basement acoustically as well.
Yeah, those first three. Okay, so did you? So it would have been at the Centennial show. Then it would have been you, me. It would have been like Troy. It would have been you, me, Dusty, and Rex
on bass, and then Aaron Fox. Aaron Fox was, I'm pretty sure, playing really just for that one-off show.
I think so. Yeah, that sounds right.
It's so random.
And then I think Nick joined after that. Where Nick came in, I can't quite pinpoint it. But
Nick pretty much came in for recording. That's how I remember roping him in. I remember we were like, okay,
need someone to do some 6 solos
and
on
just
this.
and we all knew Nick was like you know, simmering, you know, on his guitar. Like, I don't think he was really being used for anything. So it was also sort of like, I think that's why. And after the recording with him, it became a regular thing because we were just like, look, yeah,
we sold out, went full band.
But so then going into so from the Centennial show, we would have had to have written probably what was on the first album? Knowing is Half the Battle. As said by G.I. Joe, technically.
In like parentheses, as said by G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Which was a direct, I mean, that was aside from the name, that was a direct nod to John. You know, he would always say that. Fueled by Magic.
Fueled by Magic. Mantar. Dinner Rolls and Three's Company too.
Fucking hell yeah, dude, that song was ridiculous.
Passions of the Schnauder, I think was on there.
Yeah.
There was the Scott Weiss song.
The Ballad of Scott Weiss.
Yes, the Ballad of Scott
Weiss. That one had that Napoleon Dynamite clip. Like,
yeah.
You think I got where I am?
Wearing these pants, looking like this kid,
dressed like Peter Pan over here.
Forget about it.
Dude, I love that.
Well, I remember the rhythm to that song was that shitty riff that the only thing Scott could play on guitar. The dee 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 dee. Like, and so I just stole that from him.
I don't know why, like, looking back on that, like, I like
he would pick up the guitar and play that dumb riff and then set it back down.
Well, me and him later on, we did like a really bad music project that was just me and him, and we both were playing our instruments very, very poorly. And like, I think it was mostly the liquor that made it sound good, but that's a different story.
You thought it sounded good from it?
Yeah, it was like a very Jim Leahy sort of like approach to that band. But yeah, okay, so all of that, and then To Be Continued was obviously on the album eventually.
Yeah.
So we had to craft. I mean, how long do you think it took us to craft? Like, I'm trying to remember all this. Like,
I don't know. Some of those are just like slapped together.
Yeah, I remember Dinner Rolls and Three's Company 2 was originally written at we started writing it at Kenroy or something like that.
Kenroy Run.
Like, and then, yeah, I mean, like, I imagine like the Ballad of Scott was just sort of slapped together, but ultimately we ended up recording in the Dix brothers' basement.
Yeah. There was Reaching the Bottom of an Endless Abyss, which was just this weird song that
just abstract music.
Yeah, it has sound clips in it and like backwards singing.
Yeah.
I think just about every album I ever recorded, there was always one of those songs on there.
It had a lot of scary parts.
Yeah.
it's always fun. I mean, like, especially because when you have so many people that just like are talented, just sitting around fucking around, inevitably other like stuff is gonna spill out, you know, whether it's a jam that's like super dope or like whatever, you know.
There was that one part of that where it was just like you laughing, but it was backwards.
Yeah. That's the stuff of nightmares, though. You know, like that's what you hear when you look underneath your bed in the middle of the night. It's all dark. It's terrifying. But yeah, okay. So when we were recording that, like, I mean, like, I remember doing a handful of things. Like, we did like the crowd chant, like the group vocals for No, I Guess Half the Battle.
Oh yeah,
or,
Jameson.
No. Yeah,
that opened with Jameson yelling, "There's an artiste on stage."
Yeah, that's right.
That was a straight up line from, because at that point we were obsessed with the movie Man on the Moon.
Yeah,
with fucking what is
Jim Carrey.
Yeah, Jim Carrey. But there's a character,
Tony Clifton.
Tony Clifton. That's who it was. Oh my god.
Tony Clifton. yeah.
That was a line from the movie where he's like, "There's an artiste on stage."
Dude, I still like that would be a fun fucking costume to do. Try and do like a full on Tony Clifton, like get some like fake jowls and everything. Like, you just like have a cigar in your fingers at all times, like.
Yeah, if you can find that like baby blue coat too.
Oh my god, dude, magic. Oh man. Yeah. Okay. So with the Schmatter recording, was there any like notable like parts of that like first album that stood out, like when we were recording, to either of you guys, like in the process, you know? Was there any particular
I think that was
fun that was had
when that was probably the second album they recorded there. So we did all our 9802 crew and stuff on that system, so Elliot and them had the mixing down pretty well, but I'm pretty sure Calvin and Rex kind of produced the final product of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember To Be Continued, I thought turned out really well. Like, it was mixed very well.
Yeah, I mean that track's still fun. I mean, like, I've listened to it fairly recently.
It's still on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
At the talent show.
Yeah. I think I watched that not too long ago either.
There was like, we did basically an entire set from like a open mic night is on there as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think that was one of the, like, that was the return, quote unquote. That was when Troy, I think you were still in drum school.
Yeah, because Jasper posted that on YouTube. So yeah. And I think he had a sombrero on in that or something like that.
There's a sombrero that danced around quite often afterwards.
But that does remind me. I do have the tape that Jim recorded of us in the St. Valentine's Massacre show that we can watch next weekend.
Oh my god!
It's a little rough looking back on it now, but you catch the atmosphere. And there was a couple hundred people there. It was pretty ridiculous.
Dude. We'll have to see if we can watch our way through it. Holy shit, yeah. Troy, do you remember what like how long it took you to lay down your parts for that album overall? Because I'm trying to piece together how long we recorded that album. Like, it couldn't have been that that.
No,
long.
Maybe like a day or two. I think we pretty much had everything together.
Yeah.
Kind of just went in and did it.
Okay.
It was like after school, we'd hop over there and do it.
Yeah, I don't think it took very long.
No, I really don't think it did either. That's what I was trying to think. But ultimately, we created that album, Tales from the Vines Establishment, which is still to this day just such a great name. You know, like,
I remember when we went and took the pictures for the cover art of that. We're just like romping around Rock Island, and you guys were up climbing on those rocks.
I still have the album in my car, so like every time I open my little like armrest thing, the album's in there, just randomly.
It's perfect, just in case you need to pop it in.
You never know.
You never know. Okay, so what would have been like our probably like the next show or whatever that we played off of that, like off the after recording? Would it have been
trying to win a bunch of them open mic nights?
Right. Because when was the talent show? That was
that was that spring.
I guess that
because you guys were seniors, so
yeah, I guess that was probably it. And that was fun though. I will that was a fun show, a fun set to do. Just because, like, I don't know, I feel like thrashing around on that stage was just kind of something you always see it there, and you're just like, well, somebody should play on it.
The short shorts.
The short shorts were necessary with the Schmouter sets.
It's hot up there.
It's hot up there, and you always have to, reflect the light back into the crowd. It's part of the stage aesthetic. It gives us disco vibe.
I think we might have played a show at Quincy too around that time.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Oh, the Quincy show.
It was a Sunday afternoon. Some kids
a fine Sunday, really.
Rex comes out corpse paint in this little community center.
So I don't even remember how we stumbled into that show.
It was somebody contacted Rex or us through MySpace. It's just kids like senior project to put on this show. This community center.
Why us? Why?
Why
you
not?
must thought it was funny.
Why
yeah.
not? I like that.
Maybe Starving Eyes wasn't available at the time.
Dave the Hero was out.
Sean Hunter.
Dave the Hero was out, but we could step in. Yeah, but okay, so if I recall correctly, that community center was a tiny kind of space that had a bunch of I can't remember if we had to put out more chairs for people or if the chairs were already set up. They had a bunch of those metal fold out chairs for people to sit in. It was gonna be we're gonna show up with our cellos and our orchestral instruments and sit down and play a concert for them.
Get this shit out of here. It's smack dab middle of Quincy. I'm sure it's still there. It's across from a gas station or something like that.
Yeah, it's right across from Aiken's, that grocery store.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. You ever drive by that with your daughter, Troy, and be like, "You see that? Played a show there one day."
Totally destroyed in there.
Slayed.
I mean, because that was sort of it. I remember that was going into it. It was sort of okay, this is what the show is. Why don't we just fuck with it? Why don't we I mean, that's just what we we're all we got into so much mischief, I think, back in the day, because it was just sort of let's just fuck with this thing. And that show was definitely a prime example, because it was definitely all right, Dusty said, you Rex is gonna slap on some corpse paint, my short shorts were there. I can't remember rightly if I ever take off my shirt.
I don't know,
because I definitely remember we wrote "Let's Party" on my chest, and the intent was for me to take that off at some point.
I'm sure it probably happened.
And anyway, we just went balls out on that fucking for that show, just for the hell of it. I think, looking back on it.
Yeah, it's fuck these kids.
we had to make a name for ourselves.
Yeah.
It was fun though.
Gotta build a notoriety there.
I always thought that one was fun, but I often wonder what the people that were there, they walked away with, what their thoughts could have been. Damn kids.
I don't think they're. After that at the town show, I don't think we had a show until fucking July, because I remember at that point, mine and Rex's, all our shit was stolen from the shop.
God, yeah.
And so I had to borrow Calvin's Fender Strat, which was painted to have the map of fucking Middle Earth on it. That guitar was so fucking awesome. But because I was borrowing that. I remember playing a show at the Pack on this outside, because we thought we were playing inside.
Yeah.
And they're no, you guys are playing on this hot ass fucking cement patio.
It's dirty, man.
Yeah, nice. It was. I know. I'm pretty certain it was July that happened.
It had to have been then if it was blazing hot.
Yeah.
Well then, I mean, Troy, were you there for that show?
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, I remember that.
What show was that for? Then? Like, I wonder what that was. Like, it was like.
It was some. I want to say some beer and wine fest. Something going on.
I think that's what they were doing because they had like all the stuff going on in the street, and then you could kind of walk down to where the fountain and stuff was at.
Because we kind of played in that house area. There was bands playing on, like, actually in the Pack Theater, that's where we thought we were gonna play. But yeah.
No.
Yeah. No, peasants, you're out in the road.
They shoved us aside like Will Ferrell in that scene from fucking Old School. That's like one of my favorites. Like, I can rewatch and watch that little clip where he's just like, he just gets injected with that like tranquilizer or whatever, and then there's just this brief moment where he slaps this kid's fucking head like out of the frame. He's just like, Gah! It's just so ridiculous. Yeah, that's how it felt. Well, you know, like, I mean, that was always one of the fun things I think about Jay Schmouder, El Capitan, was that we really kept channeling this like really big energy. I think
we were some like massive band.
Yeah, we always tried to bring this like bombastic, like, you know, element to whatever the fuck it was we were doing. And I think that was like there was like, I don't know, it's like there was no, people couldn't figure out where to put us, like, you know what I mean? They're like, okay, I mean, like, I guess they could play with some metal bands. Like, you know, like, I guess they could play this beer and wine festival.
Oh, yes, I forgot that it was probably a few weeks later. So this would have been August then. That's when we played Studio 7.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
At that point, I remember having the double neck at that point, which was post the theft. This is when we got our insurance money. It's like, I'll buy 2 guitars for the price of 1.
It's sensible.
Yeah.
That was
I remember that was the best sounding show probably ever. Just the way Studio 7 is. It's fucking the speakers under the stage. You could just feel everything.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Something I'll never forget for sure.
I still remember the sound of Troy, of your kick on that when we played that fucking set. Like that.
Did you have your OCP?
It was thunderous, man.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I was like, I thought you had your OCP set by then. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing sounded like a cannon.
Yeah, dude, it really did. Like, and Dusty, you're right. Like that sound system in that place, like they fucking just crank it, and it just like I don't know, it's like a wall of sound. It sounds so fucking good.
Even though there were like 10 people there, like, you know, of which was Josh, Nick's dad, like Lizzie.
I forgot Nick's dad was there.
Yeah.
Lizzie, Dylan Standerford.
Dude, it was such a hodgepodge.
Like the other band that played.
A couple other bands, and that was it.
Yeah. Well, and
yeah, Nick's dad went. That was so just random.
That was the show where it was like we had to sell tickets to go, or to make the set.
Yeah, you had to sell 10 tickets to it. And so my dad just wrote a check for $250. And so we
He's
could
like,
play.
Sure, boys, go for it.
Well, he just did then as a tax write-off through his business. They like donated to this shit.
Hell yeah. Oh man, that's so good. But yeah, like we had to like pay to play, and then when we were there, if I do recall correctly, they weren't really like there. I remember like they had to start our set while they had people like outside for a while, and it was like, why don't you like Liz, we were like, why don't you let them in? Like, those are the people that we don't know. Like, you know, like the fuck. I always felt a little chapped after, like, from that, you know what I mean?
It's like, oh, they can hear us from outside. Yeah. They can't see anything.
Yeah, it was so strange. It was like, I mean, fun though either way to play.
Yeah, I'm just
on that,
the fact
like,
that you
on that stage, you know.
Yeah, you know, the place where you have seen, you know, huge bands or, you know, whatever, like, well, I gotta fucking play up there. So it was like, even though there was 10 people there, it was like still like, well, I gotta fucking play there. So
yeah, it was just cool to be at the venue and actually get to play. So
Definitely, man. And that was always like the fun. Like I think like it was like shows big or small. When moving over here, playing shows, like people get so butthurt if nobody showed up. And I'd never it was so easy for me to shake that off in comparison, I guess,
Yeah.
because I was just sort of like, I don't know, did I have fun? Like, yeah, it was a good night.
Yeah.
And like that was always it. Like, you know, it was big or small. Like I think we all had like, you know, a good time like playing the set.
Yeah.
It was fun crafting the set. Like it was fun practicing the set. You know, it was just like the whole process was just a good time. And I don't think, you know, I don't know. That's
there was one that reminds me of that just the trip over there in itself was ridiculous. Remember
that.
I think Josh had just got his STI, so of course he was gonna drive that, and then we were in the truck, and I forgot Rob Schultz went with us and Los McGrady. And at one point, we're going down fucking I-90, the floating bridge, and Caleb's sitting up front in the middle, and so he's long ass hair then, and Rob's in the passenger seat, and Caleb proceeded to make it look like he was blowing in. The people would drive by and like double take, like, what the fuck is going on in that car?
I remember Flannery's dad, driving. He was like racing us over there or something. As he was
He's like, I gotta beat the boys, man. That was just so funny. Yeah, like I can't like. Did they just not let Nick? They just didn't want Nick to go by himself or something.
Yeah,
like
that's what it was.
The only way he could go is if his dad, if he had a chaperone, basically.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which really surprised me when
parents.
we played that one show in Spokane. I was like, oh, there's no way that Nick's parents are going to let him get out of school early. It was a Friday night show at the Cretan Hop. Like, there's no way they're going to let him get out of school early and just go with us. And I was shocked that they did. So I was like, all right, come a long way.
Yeah, they're making big moves.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose my parents at first were probably like trepidatious. They're probably like, I don't know, I guess just don't do anything too stupid. My parents eventually, like, they had to cave on that. Like they had to realize that it was just the stupidity was going to happen either way.
It's going to happen. The more you tell me not to, the more I'm going to.
Exactly. I'm just going to do it. Oh man. So Troy, like, what was out of like the shows that you can remember with Schmatter, what would have been like your standout show?
Probably that Studio 7 show. I mean, you know, like you said, it wasn't like there was a ton of people there, but
just the awe of being in the space.
Yeah, it was fun because like we had gone and seen like Bury Your Dead play there earlier that year, and it was just kind of cool being like, oh man, I just saw some cool bands playing up here. You know,
Yeah.
just like, now it's my turn.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree. That one was definitely like, it's a top, because even like going back like afterwards and like, you know, and whatnot, like seeing other people there like years later, it's still kind of cool to go there and just be like, oh dude, like I remember like the view from there.
Didn't they have the dingy ass bar like upstairs?
Yeah, and dingy's a good word for it. It's definitely like it's a good view though, like, you know, right along the rail. I think you can. Yeah, it's one of those good, like if you can find a good post spot, like you
got to get
like,
the early post up on.
You do, because people like slide in and out of that bar area.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what about you, Dusty? Like, you got a standout show from the Schmatter?
Dude, that one or that Valentine's Day show was just, it was so disappointing because back in December we were about to play and then we got locked out of the room, and then Jeremiah's soon to be ex-wife got busted drinking in the parking lot. and
that's
the cops came and they
that
shut
connection
down.
is still just so fucking wild to me.
So weird. Years later, they'd get married.
I was like, you're the reason? You're like,
and well, there was so many people there, and it was like waiting for Daryl's like reunion show that they were playing.
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh my god, because we were the second to last group to play, and then when our shit got locked in, that's waiting for Daryl played, and then we're like, all right, so we're gonna be the last fucking band, and it just got shut down. And I was like, oh my god, because we finally got that door unlocked, get our equipment and shit. But then that Valentine's Day show, there's just as many people, and it's crazy. Like energy there was crazy. Just it's February, Wenatchee. There's no good like venues anymore. Sort of that former church, and it was just packed.
Well, that was always the fun about like those good shows in the Valley, right? Like it was that like energy of like all of us had nothing really to do, so it was like either we're sitting at home like fucking playing some games or like whatever, or like we finally have the show to go to, and so that energy was always there once like a good set was built and like the vent, like somebody had like the line on the venue. That show happened when, like, I believe post the Grange, after the Grange became inaccessible, and so like, that's why like that rental space kind of came up for option. But I recall Zach having a hell of a time booking that too. Like I think it was like something like he had to put down like a few $100 deposit for it, as well as like
he had to buy an insurance policy, and it was because of what happened the time before with kids drinking in the parking lot. And so I think that was harder for him to get that, because the guy was probably like, no, you're just gonna put me at risk, liability there. So I think he had to get like some sort of insurance policy or something like that. I'm sure he made his money back though in the end with how many people were there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, because before then, like, the Grange, we would go. There was always the shows in the middle of the summer, like on a Thursday night at the Grange. But there was like some times in like February, March, or wherever there was like a Friday or a Saturday, and there was some actually like good bands playing, like the Blakes being there and shit like that. That place was pretty packed.
Well, yeah, that's like one of the things I wanted to
I think DFR was playing there at that point.
DFR was one of those bands like Troy that like brought in, you guys like I think actively helped bring in good acts, you know what I mean? Because you guys were like put like just playing on a different level, I think, and playing something different than other, basically the scene that was burgeoning in the Valley.
You weren't like this shitty screamo band.
Yeah, dude. And so like, and so it brought some like credibility. You got like, particularly I think after like you guys solidified your lineup with you in the band, and
Lesky.
Yeah, dude. I think it was just like, it was kind of cool. Like, it was cool to know like a friend that was like playing with these fucking cool bands and shit like that. Like, there wasn't just the opening act that they shoved in there at that point. Yeah, it was dope, dude. It was, and I can't remember if I asked you on the last podcast, Troy, but did you have like a like kind of like from that era, the sort of same question? Did you have sort of like a standout group or a show that like you really enjoyed from DFR?
Yeah, there was a few. There was some good shows at the Grange that were cool. When we played at the Lab, that was fun. I know you guys did with Schmouter too.
Yeah. Well, was it just you guys, or did you guys go over there with anybody? Because when we played, we like went over there with like 2 other bands or something like that. So,
oh yeah, the Minuet and
in
something Manners.
Forgotten Manners. But when DFR went over, were you guys playing with other people?
I think there was another band playing. I know DEK was there. They were kind of like our friends, I guess you could say, from Seattle.
Every band's got like a band buddy that like they end up playing multiple shows with, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think they played that night though, but they were there, like saw us play. I can't remember. I'm sure there was like I'm sure Rex would probably remember, but I can't remember who else was playing that night. But I think there was another band or two that were there, but we didn't really know them. It was just kind of like, yeah, we could, you know.
Yeah.
They invited us to go play, so let's go. Like,
yeah. Fair enough. That's cool, man. I mean, playing at the lab was fun. It was a neat space.
Small and sweaty though.
Yeah, small, yeah. But it was kind of, again, it was sort of one of those things. It was like, excuse me, going out of town. It was sort of just like, you know, an adventure to
Play
go
a show
play
on the road.
else, you know? Yeah, exactly.
I'm somebody.
The road is fucking hard. The road is fucking tough.
Yeah. Oh, and it's, I mean, you get that recording out of it too, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, exactly. It was cool. You got a live album out of it, so that was fun.
Totally.
Because I think a big part of that was, so it was a Seattle drum school, and I think they were training people on like recording and mixing and shit. So that's why basically like, oh, we need fucking, you know, somebody, guinea pigs here. So we'll record your set, you know, you can play just so they can get their experience on that.
I remember when we played over there, we did a cover of Cutsman by Horse the Band.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, dude. That we just talked about Cutsman a little bit because I just put it on my playlist, and I think it was even mentioned that DFR like covered it at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I felt like a lot of our bands had like one or two cover songs that we just like randomly pull out.
Oh yeah, Heat of the Moment.
Yeah, we had Heat of the Moment, but Cutsman was a ballsy one though. That I remember that was so fucking cool.
Yeah, I think Rex did the vocals on that one.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, because at that point Elliot was really getting the keyboards. So that's why Lesky came in as like the rhythm guitarist.
Yeah.
Fair enough, man. Yeah, that shit was ridiculous. Yeah, with Schmouder, I remember doing Heat of the Moment, and
we almost did Don't Stop Believin', but we couldn't find somebody to do the piano part.
Yeah, we wanted Katie to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that that's the thing that stopped us. It couldn't have possibly ever been the fact that I would never have that range.
The keyboard, I'm gonna ditch this.
Oh my god, yeah, that was always the thing. I was like, you know, I'm gonna go for it. I don't know if I ever reached it. I think I might still be reaching for it. That thing, you know. But...
That Valentine's Day recording has us performing fucking Ohio is for Lovers on it.
Oh shit.
And the crowd just goes, what? Because we were gonna play it at that Christmas show. And I think that's why I was more disappointed than anything, was because I wanted to play that song so bad. Just to get the reaction.
It was so wild. I remember that. It was so wild that the whole room seemed to be into it at that time.
They were singing along to it too.
It was ridiculous. I was like, yeah, that was fucking insane.
I mean, I had a hot dog suit on at one point in that show. You were in this weird fucking Eagles vest. Like, it was white.
Like the Eagles Club or something like
that.
It was
like yellow tassels and this giant eagle on the back.
That thing was beautiful. And also really uncomfortable. It's like if you didn't wear it without a shirt, it was super itchy. As itchy almost as that wool suit I used to have. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Dude, I still have the red Foreman jacket. It's in this closet over here.
Dumbass. Yeah, man. Well, that suit, that wool suit was a classy thing. Okay, I almost miss not having it anymore. Almost. And I think about how uncomfortable it was at times. Whoa. Yeah. Oh man, yeah. Schmouder, like it just like it. Every time I think about that group, it was just it's always just like how fun that fucking project was. And it was great because it was like it was one of those, I think it was a lot of other bands in the Valley were really like trying to be super serious at the time.
Yeah.
I think. And we were like just kind of letting ourselves like, I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that you guys were all really talented at you know, where you were with your instruments and everything. And I think that helped sort of like enable us to just take it less seriously. You know, we were just like kind of like, yeah, you guys seem to like be able to dick around and fall into something.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, all right, well, let's just laugh about something stupid over the top of it, or like create some sort of like, you know,
yeah, I mean,
unrealistic tale, like, you know.
It was like it being a hobby, you know, in a way too, because I was like, there's an expiration date on this, obviously. Like, you know, most of us are gonna split off, go to college, whatever. You know, Troy left to go to Hollywood, and it's like, so there's an expiration date on it. So I was like, let's just have fucking fun with it.
Totally. And I think that in a way is like, I really think that's how you should, like, you know, really dive into those kind of creative projects, right? Like, I think you should really just let it be fluid in that way, where it's like, you know, you can at times pick it up, you can drop it, you can come back, you can like reflect on it, you know, you can pour. Yeah, it's just, and that's one of those things. That's why, like, you know, I do want to get, once I get a little more organized with life, it's like something that's still on my back burner. Like, I want to eke out one final Jay Schmatter El Capitan album.
Yeah,
like, I really do. Like, it's like one of those things, like, you feel it in your gut, like, we could do it eventually. I know we can, and it'd be so epic if we do just like one last fucking ride, you know. I think it'd be fucking great. But yeah, man, like, I don't know, it was always a good time. Troy, so when you went off to drum school, that, like,
we did Metal De Niro right before I left.
Oh yeah, because the Christmas in the Underworld.
I was like, we were able to get that done before you left, right? Like,
yeah.
That, like, I remember, like, so many bits about that. Like, I love still, like, when I listen to that album, I love your just like some of your like really random
Santa
stuff, like your Santa voice, your George Judson, like, it's just so fucking great. And like, but like the epicness of that culmination of the Christmas in the Underworld trilogy on Metal De Niro is just the Satan versus Santa is just I tell people about that trilogy all the time. Like, I'll be like, you know what my favorite fucking Christmas song is? For the Christmas in the Underworld trilogy.
They're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I explain it to them, and they're just like, the fuck, dude.
The second part is just Jingle Bells.
Yeah,
it's just Jingle Bells up in this bitch.
Yeah, it's like literally just the keyboard song.
It's just a do.
It sounds so ridiculous.
It was even better. It was like what, August or something when we recorded that too, so it's like, you know, it's not even anywhere near the holidays. But
yeah,
they're like, exactly. Where did this come from? Like, I don't even know why.
Man, thinking ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Elf was filmed in July.
Exactly.
I was just like, where? I don't even know where the idea of that came from.
I honestly don't remember.
I think it was you were just messing around on Rex's keyboard and you accidentally found that little like pre-programmed jingle. And you're like, no shit.
It's on. That would be ridiculous. Yeah, that probably is how it happened. I honestly could really imagine that. But that Metal De Niro was like, that was a whole different beast, right? Like, that was just like a different schmouter.
Yeah, much more metal.
Much more metal, as the name was. But okay. Where did the name Metal De Niro come from?
Nick was pretty involved.
Yeah, with Nick being, because basically we wrote all those other songs on the previous album without Nick, except for probably To Be Continued. But,
I think we even wrote To Be Continued without Nick.
Well, yeah, he had been like, you know, his lead shit, but I remember coming up with the main chord progressions and stuff. But
well, that's what I mean. I was like, I think like
maybe we had added.
I don't think
added him to have the lead part on the recording and everything.
Yeah, I don't think he like was, anyway. But with Metal De Niro, yeah, like it was a lot more like ridiculous too. So like with Tales from the Vines Establishment, it was really fantastical at times, as well as like, you know, we had that one really weird Scott Weiss song although like I felt like the Ballad of Scott Weiss as well as Passion of the Schmouter, those two can kind of like stand side by side.
Still hold up to this day.
Yeah, I wonder what the reaction would be. Anyway,
It's two very rapey songs.
Yeah, Passion to the Schmouder. Well, they're supposed to be about villains, right? But Metal De Niro was like, I mean, it was just like, I don't know, it was like more metal, but it was just like fucking ridiculous. Like I remember, I mean, some of the lyrics that I had for those songs were just fucking trash. Like
going to the LAN party.
Yeah, dude, going to the LAN party is one of the weirdest songs, especially because of the lyrics. Like,
Mama need cookies, Mama need cookies.
Like in theory, it was a lot funnier. But I mean, like all those songs were really fucking fun to play, particularly like Metal De Niro, like the title, Metal De Niro, metal as fuck.
Yeah, I remember making that cover on Microsoft Paint, and I spelled De Niro wrong, and it was Metal De Niro, and then I put this just all these dollar bills behind this cutout of Robert De Niro's face.
No, but it wasn't even Robert De Niro. It was like a Robert De Niro impersonator.
Yeah, well, it's because I always do that rookie card face. That was me trying to be Robert De Niro.
Yeah, dude. Well, that's where the whole. I mean, that's why it was so funny. It was like the idea. Of
it was some inside joke that
face while you were playing playing the guitar or something like that. Like that was how you become Metal De Niro.
It's the inside joke that nobody understood outside of our group.
Yeah, exactly. This really specific like title and everything, and everybody was just like, Metal De Niro.
You spelled that wrong, right? Well, yeah, that's part of the joke.
Oh, that's my favorite. Oh man, yeah, I remember. The estate was technically alive when Metal De Niro was going, right?
Yeah, that was prime estate days.
Oh man, that was the one thing. I mean, granted it was a duplex, but we never got a chance to play at the estate.
It was a duplex.
It was a duplex.
There's enough debauchery going on there anyway.
Fair enough. That poor family next door didn't need a full live band.
Do you remember that one time when like the next door neighbors had a freaking like wrestling ring set up in their backyard?
Yeah, dude. Oh my god, that was like the coolest moment because it was like, I mean, I really wanted to go over there and use it. Like that would have been so much fun. But I still wonder. I was like, why the hell did they have that? Like
and they only had it for like a weekend.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was like there.
Like they're gonna do some backyard wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were gonna like do some backyard filming or whatever.
Do you remember when we went to Joann's Fabric and got a shitload of boxes? And then we jumped out of the top window onto the box pile.
Dude, onto the big box pile. Well, and that was after I believe we used those boxes for a giant box fort across the yard.
Yes.
We like posted across the yard. Although I don't, I mean, those boxes definitely lingered around for a while around the estate.
Yeah, that was like the whole pizza box thing.
Yeah, dude.
You need to get these fucking boxes out of here.
It's like, it's not fucking funny.
That whole fucking wall of pizza boxes, it was a whole nother issue.
That was, dude, like that was the gnarly. Like there was just so many. They're all like Domino's boxes too. Like that's what I remember. Like it was like we just had like ordered.
There was $5 pizzas.
The pizza meat.
The pizza meat.
Pizza meat.
Yeah, like I mean, like like I said, I think going through there and finding like crusts and stuff like that was just like
full slices one time.
Yeah,
just somebody slid down the stairs into them.
Oh god, dude!
Open the box and this perfectly preserved slice.
Just ridiculous. Well, and that. Yeah, like there was like a theme for a while with where it was like we kept collecting different items. Like the only thing that was valid, I think, was probably was probably Josh's Jaeger collection.
Oh god.
Because like that thing, I mean, like we all watched it grow, right? It started like in the kitchen and then it slowly wrapped around the kitchen. Like,
Blind, yeah.
like I mean, and it was kind of like that was like kind of had a cool aesthetic because of the green bottles and stuff.
Yeah.
But then I also remember we were collecting like empty bottles in like the closet upstairs for a while, and that was just like, what the fuck are we doing?
Well, that's so we could make the graveyard. You know, you remember the graveyard back in the day? You're at like Abby's Pizza, and you're like, I'm gonna get fucking graveyard to get every soda.
Yeah.
And so Clement had this. I think we just took this empty crown, and we were empty just the little drops of every empty bottle into it, and it was like swamp sludge or something. What Clement called it, or something like that. But it was like the graveyard of alcohols.
Oh, Jesus.
And I think somebody had to do a shot of it at one point.
I hope it wasn't me.
I do remember we had Caleb's 75 Wendy's nugget container. Like we had that up
on the wall.
Tacked up every container. Yeah, dude, that's right.
That was right next to the so there was the nuggets, and they were right under the light, like it's the fucking U.S. flag.
Yeah.
Make sure.
Oh no!
Right next to fucking Ian. Who's the guy that played fucking like not Sauron, but
Ian McKellen.
Ian McKellen. Was that Ian McKellen like picture?
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh my god, dude. That place always had just like such a weird combination of like stuff. I mean, well, I also remember, I think like it was Josh and Luke and like maybe a couple other people. I don't remember. They also went out and got like, you know, like that random like framed post like painting that was, I don't know, it was like a landscape or something like that at one point.
Yeah, it might have been like for me. We had the time where we would kind of yard sale in the mornings.
Oh yeah, some casual yard sailing, you know. It's a good activity. It's a good post-party activity. It helps you gather your thoughts and whatnot.
Saturday morning yard sailing with Luke.
Oh man. Yeah, and then there's like, you know, always the hookah at the estate too.
Oh, yeah.
That thing was always cheap, and
Dusty was a freaking hookah reload wizard. The thing would be ready to go in like 2 minutes.
Yeah. I was telling Jared earlier, like I bought a hookah recently.
Did you really?
Yeah, I got it over at your friend Jeremiah and Caleb's house. But we decided to smoke it today, and just the chore of that thing, like getting together, like lighting the coals, and like having to sit there and like just doing all the puffs to get it going. I totally forgot about that, and like how disgusting those few like first pulls are, because you're just pulling like the smoke from that fucking coal. It's just like this chemical taste. It's like, oh
yeah. Were you smoking Al Fokker watermelon?
So when I ordered it,
that stuff.
I went to the barn because I'm like, well, I know they're gonna have the Al Fokker there. They didn't have the watermelon, and I was rather disappointed. So I got like a grape and like two apple or something like that. But I'm like, this is just not the same without the watermelon.
Right, that watermelon would get you fucked up.
Yeah. It's hard.
It's like smoking a gusher, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many hoses is your hookah? Just single hose?
It's just one. I just like ordered on Amazon. It was like $30. It's this little like 12-inch one.
Nice.
So it came with like fucking 100 coals and all this other shit. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Dude, hookah got big with all like with everybody.
It got super popular at that time. So it's like Clement was the one that had it and kind of got us all into it. But
yeah.
But then I mean like I remember like, you know, eventually down the road, like so many people had hookahs. It was like anytime there was a party at like in East there was like a hookah at that party.
Like Seto had his little travel one.
Dude, yeah. Nick said a travel hookah. Yeah.
He like, I swear he put that in the cup holder of his car and drove around. And then like I know Lindsay had one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh bought that 4-hoser, and I was recanting the story they had. He bought it, and then like Casual Rally Bank like blocked the transaction from going through because I think it was like from some foreign website, and so he didn't think that we got it, and then it ended up getting delivered. But by that time, he'd ordered another one, so we ended up with like 2 4-hosers.
I remember that.
Oh man, it's over.
Didn't we end up like duct taping like 3 of the hoses shut or something? So
Yeah, like they were super cheap, so like the hoses, there wasn't like great seals on them. But I remember the duct tape. I think at one point we asked your dad to try and weld because like one of the stems like broke, and just in the garage and welding this hookah. Like I know Dana had one.
Yeah, dude,
But yeah, it was just everybody had one at that point.
yeah, it was just such a thing.
It's just a social.
I can't remember the last time I hit a hookah, though. Honestly, that's just
before today when I did that, I had been at probably 10 years.
yeah,
Like
yeah, it's been a while.
there was that final party at the state like 2010, 2011, something like that. I remember I was working for the Wild at that point, and I think we'd smoked hookah there at that time.
I'd imagine most likely there's a hookah going at the last estate party. Seeing as there's like almost like that whole downstairs bathroom dedicated to not really into being a hookah lounge.
How many people can we
As well
get
as
in
the
this
table
tiny
upstairs.
bathroom?
Box in this hookah. Oh man. Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's so funny though, Dusty, that you went to the barn and everything though, to go pick that up. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I was like, well, I'm not going to go.
Where-
Well, I'm not going to go into cigarettes cheaper. That just looks weird. So I'm like, well, if I go to the barn, I'll just get something to drink. Oh, shisha? Might as
Hell,
well.
fucker. They're still making that.
You
I'll
got
pick
those
some up.
porno mags in the back too still? Barn?
black bag.
Get the black bag special.
Yeah, I mean, the barn's just like it used to be. It still has fucking
never changed.
so much glass pipes in the middle and bongs and shit.
Just
Yep.
crazy. That barn. Yeah, that
The
was
barn.
the barn. Yeah, that place was always like pre-party. That was a necessity to stop at.
Somebody's got to get coals and shisha.
Oh yeah, dude. There was like, I'm trying to think of like a couple of those random like estate moments. Like I remember having that Clement had, basically everybody was in agreement about it, but there's like the beer pong table in the kitchen, like right at the end of the kitchen and it was there forever. And that was huge because there's also like this whole side of beer pong that brought in like natty ice and shit like that into that. Like there's always like Keystone and natty ice like floating around the beer pong table.
That was fucking Clement. He like him and Cutridge exclusively drink Keystone Ice, which was like, oh, this shit's hard.
Yeah,
Just black fucking cans.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Choice Keystone.
Yeah.
But there's
You
definitely
could like cut them out and put them on the wall and shit too.
That's what I remember. I mean, like, again, there was so much random collecting of like stuff, like
Borderline hoarding. Like let's
we were all
pizza boxes. That was hoarding.
we were all enabling each other. Josh apparently was probably just upstairs going, "These fucking idiots, get the shit going."
And then he's like finishes another Jaeger, puts it up on.
Clink, clink.
I don't have a problem.
I love it. Oh man. But yeah, no, that was always. I mean, like any night at the estate was always like interesting to at least like behold. You know, whether you were like, you know, there's a party going, or you're just like seeing some, you know, shit unfold like a beer pong game or something like that.
And
There's
video
always
games in the basement.
Yeah, there's always some action going on there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was always like one of the funny things about that place.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk for hours, just the different fucking stories and just awful things that happened in that place.
That is gonna have to happen, but I'm gonna my you know, I want to sit down, and I was just gonna bring this up. Like, I think that like the three of us in we should try and get Luke Gillespie in on like a recording session.
Yeah.
And like kind of bring that, because I think that you guys could probably piece together some really like good like stuff about that place, because you three are really like foundational members. Like I mean, you three and Mantar are like the face of the estate. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, that place it was not as wild until Clement moved in.
well, yeah, Clement brought an element for sure.
That's when
I think when people look back on it, there's like there are character, like people that they associate with the place, you know. And I mean, Clement is one of them, but on Mount Rushmore, he'd maybe be like a little further on the side.
There was like that Blake era.
Yeah.
There was Flannery briefly. There was like this weird revolving door of people living there too.
Yeah. Patrick was there for a while.
Yeah.
I felt like Luke was there 2 different stints or something.
He did move out, and that's when Nick moved into his room.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, I lived there like twice, I think.
Yeah, I think Jasper lived there for a little while.
Oh yeah, Andrew Meats.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Meats, man, that guy.
Who was that one girl that you guys were friends with?
Jessica something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jessica would live there for a little bit.
There was that little room that I
that
cleaned
fucking
out.
Revolving door.
There was that storage room that I cleaned out to make where I could just pass out in on the foam mattress.
Right next to like the downstairs door.
Yeah, but we turned it into, initially it was like a hookah room.
Yeah.
But then I like just pretty much took it over because there was that mattress pad in there. I would just go in and pass out on.
Yeah. The guest room.
Basically, well, then there was somebody just put a twin mattress, like a twin bed, actually in the basement.
That's really well, we always had so many people like passing out, like sleeping over there and stuff like that, you know. Well, because it was always like, especially because it's like, well, what are you gonna fucking do? Like, if you're like too pissed drunk, just stay the fuck here, like whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So many couches, couches everywhere.
Man, upstairs there was so many. That was crazy.
The entire living room was like
a wall of
couches all along the wall, along the windows, couches like along the banister for the stairs. Like,
yeah.
Like
there was like car seats in there at one point too.
Oh yeah, that was from Luke's parents' van.
Yeah.
It was the back seats.
Yeah.
But there's couches that I think we got from Jameson's brother.
Yeah.
I called the Vice couches.
Yep. The purple with like the
yeah, well, I think I choke slammed Jared through one of them. So one of them sank way too much.
Yeah. You sat and immediately folded to the middle.
Yeah. I mean, that was the wrestling matches, yeah.
What, dude? We used to have, oh my God, dude. Yeah. We used to throw, like, it was just like that with that, same thing with like those fights with Scott Weiss that people would have. Like there'd just be like, sometimes there'd just be like a wrestling match that would just go.
There was that one that you guys started. You guys started like at 4, and it was like 5:30, and Jim and Debbie were getting home, and like, well, we gotta get out of the living room, and like, Jim was like, I'll just take it out front. Ended up with someone like both of you probably ended up shirtless, and someone got spat on at the end.
Yeah,
it got chopped and then spat on.
one of the most crushing moments of my life. What a combo though. Just the chop, and then like your dead body's just on the ground. He's just like,
oh god.
The Weiss always had flair, man. That's for sure.
The straight knockout of Caleb was something else.
Dude, that was wild. I mean, as Caleb would say, he warned me. He
warned me. Yeah. I do remember one wrestling match me and you, Jared, had it was a Vine's establishment, and I gotta preface which venue this was in.
What was that?
It was the fan incident where you had me down, and like I leaned back and grabbed the floor fan and bashed it on your head, and like the face of it fell off. Got with that.
You would always go for a freaking arm bar.
The arm bar is deadly.
Yeah, dude. Well, like,
I forgot even that it's over.
I would fall for it though. It would always result in that. Like eventually, it's like something like that.
Well, I think you guys, and then you started doing like tag teams because like Jameson and Luke tag team together.
Well, people
they were like it was like Big Rice and Pot Sticker or something.
Oh no. I remember Pot Sticker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, dude,
well, there was
like a funny thing. It just became a thing. Like
well, there was like 20 kids in that house after school every day.
Yeah.
What else are you gonna do? Well, might as well razzle.
We might as well razzle.
Oh, no.
It's true though, dude. Like, I mean, we used to do that like, I mean, like, that was like, yeah, that was kind of one of the funny things. It just sort of grew. Like, there was like a couple of like people that would wrestle every now and then all of a sudden, like, it became like this, like, oh, well, I'll do that. And then like more, a different person would show up and like try and wrestle, and then like, yeah, you're right. They like just became a thing. We also had boxing matches outside of the house.
I think that was a lot earlier on. I don't know if I was around the establishment. It wasn't like Ernie Garza's brother in a boxing match.
Yeah, AJ.
There's a weird mix of people that tried to well, because it was like, again, like it was like people would hear that they were going on, and like they weren't serious necessarily things like for us to like. There were things that we were doing, but like they were not like, we're not like, okay, yeah, like, yeah, we're fucking boxing now, like I don't know. I don't know. The wrestling thing was also kind of like that. It was just like this ridiculous thing that we kept doing, but that kind of stayed ridiculous. Like what other tag teams were there though? Were there any other like actual like reoccurring teams? Like, because I think
nothing that sticks out like Big Rice, Pot Sticker.
Yeah, those two were like the tag team menacing duo.
Jameson was just so much bigger than everybody else.
It was no contest, dude. If you go up against Jameson, it's no fucking contest.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. The whole just that assembly after school there was outrageous. Like the amount of snacks and stuff your parents are buying for us.
For real.
Soda, snacks, just endless supply.
I was just like, they took care of so many fucking kids. Like,
well, they were always that way. I mean, it was just, they're like, oh, I'd rather know that you guys are at our house, safe essentially than out doing something else. So they didn't really care.
Every now and then some kid gets cracked over the head with a fan, but
it happens. Maybe somebody breaks a lampshade. You had to go buy them, and then your mom ended up liking the one you got.
Yeah,
she's liking about the others.
Yep.
Yeah, that the Vines establishment. I got a leg cramp. Hold on, I'm standing up. I'm doing this. The Vines establishment, man, like that really was like, it became this spot, like. And for Troy, like growing up, like it was always kind of like our low key, like after school hangout, man. Like,
yeah,
and it was so cool in a way, like watching it become like, like it wasn't like, I don't know, it was just kind of cool, like that it grew, and that group kind of grew, and it was like a home base for so many people. Like I can definitely say that for myself. Like your guys' house growing up was such a huge like home away from home for myself.
I remember like a lot of summers it'd just be like I'd wake up at like 9 in the morning or so, and it'd be like an hour later you would text me, and then Dusty would text me, and it was like we'd come over, or you guys would come over, and we'd watch like Master Chef or something, and
dude, you just hang out and let the day unfold,
pretty much.
South Park, Ways Kid
Oh yeah. Speaking of,
and there was rest in peace to that guy.
Didn't that guy?
He just died like unexpectedly. But do you remember the whole password incidents?
Oh, with the password.
Like I was the only one that
remember what they are, but
I was the only one that could get in with one password. But there was every week there was a password added on. Remember just fucking with like Austin.
Sorry, man, that's not right. Yeah,
That's not the right combination. I remember like It's a Secret was in there.
yeah.
I don't even fucking know you was
I don't
mine.
even fucking
I don't
know.
even
You're
fucking
right,
know.
dude.
Yeah, there was like
God.
it got long.
Yeah.
And I can't remember how it even like what the chain was, but
It was initially us fucking with Erica, actually. If I remember
Yeah.
right. We wouldn't let
it
Erica
was
in.
like poop, sex, it's a secret, or something like that.
Yeah, dude.
Six.
It's a secret. I think I don't
Yeah,
fucking
I
know
mean,
you.
fucking know. I think Cool Beans,
Whiskey.
Whiskey was in there. Sex on the beach or Sex on the dance floor.
Yeah. There was like some
God.
sort of plant, fern,
Yeah.
a plant of some sort. But that whole out thing just, and every kid trying to come in.
Like everybody had to say, yeah, but like, I don't even know what this is.
I know, it's like, that's why I keep thinking right now. It's like half the time I wonder if either like anybody at the door was just sort of like, I know the basic, I know like these two.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Sorry, man. What's the passwords? Yeah.
I don't know them, you don't know them, man. Sorry.
Better luck next time.
Yeah, turn them around. Oh my god.
Anyway, we're just gonna eat all the famous Amos cookies before you can get in here.
Yeah. All this soda, chips, and cookies. Oh man. I wish I could compare them, but
I'll just have to crack one open for you. Oh my god, that was always like, I always had this debate growing up. I was like, because I'd have a Mountain Dew at Troy's house out of a can. It'd be nice and crisp and cool and delicious. And then I'd like some other time I'd get one out of get like a 20 ounce, like crack open that bottle, and it'd just be like, it just fall flat. And I was just like, it never hit the same, like that after school Mountain Dew, like out of the can,
Squirt was my go-to. Squirt or the Dr. Pepper.
yeah.
Yeah. Dr. Pepper, yeah. Yeah, well, like I remember like Troy, what was your soda after school? There's like
I like
always had like a couple.
Yeah, I like Sprite, 7-Up, stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Barks root beer.
Barks, yeah.
Oh,
that's
dude, the root
probably
beer.
my favorite.
I love root beer still.
Classic.
I've not had a good root beer in a very long time.
No.
I think I have Barks root beer in my fridge right now, actually.
Nice.
Oh.
Still a staple.
Yeah. Dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, that. Oh man. Yeah, the Vines establishment was a place, and during the summers later on too, it became like, a spot where I remember you guys would set up
With
like
a fire pit.
Well, there's like that, like the fire pit stuff. There's like croquet games, like sometimes
Oh, yeah.
like
Badminton baseball.
badminton,
baseball.
Yeah.
Oh no. I remember, I feel like I broke my rib that one day. Diving for a fucking shuttlecock.
And then you land on like a tree root or a rock.
Yeah, right on my side, like without breaking my fall.
God, dude. Oh my god.
The ladder, we had a lot of ladder ball back there.
Yeah.
Oh,
We did
yeah.
bocce ball some.
That's right, man. Yeah, because like that garage, it's like all the snacks, man. There's just so much like yard games and shit that you could do. I mean, the reason why me and Jeremiah talk about this every now and then. The reason why we still love to do like those little like catch breaks in between like working on shit if we're like around each other or whatever is directly from like the fact that like being at your place, we always had like a football or a baseball and some gloves around, and we could just like, all right, let's stop what we're doing, like just go outside and like
let's have a catch.
blow off, and have a catch or whatever. Catch or
This
fly
fucking
games, man.
Dewey Cox. Let's have a catch.
But yeah, dude, like that. Shit was definitely like.
Remember playing tackle
low-key great
football
spot.
back there? We got really into
Oh,
tackle
man.
football there for a while. And I remember one particular occurrence which Scott got tackled and flew through the air like into that wooden fence.
That thing cracked the fence for it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dude. Well, that was like, I mean, there's no shyness about like, if we were playing, I guess we were playing.
Going all out, bro.
That was one of the things about Scott too, though. It's like that dude, like I feel like he always threw himself at shit.
Yeah. He didn't half-ass it. He'd just go 100% in.
Yeah.
He didn't care.
Even though he had a heart condition and like probably could shock us at any point, you know?
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's
Jesus.
ridiculous. Yeah, there's so much activity that just like happened in that spot. It's just wild. And like it was so accessible to like, like things like Kenroy, where we'd hang out like on the playground sometimes, at night and whatnot. Like it was actually kind of like fun to just go fucking swing it sometimes in the evening.
Yeah, I remember there'd be occasionally like cops would roll by and you'd have to like stop moving, just hide.
Yeah, exactly. Dude,
Eventually just kick us out.
Yeah. Go home.
Well, they couldn't catch us when we're like in that kind of that hallway corridor.
Yeah.
Kind of closer to the gym where we'd smoke the Black and Milds. It had that weird yellow light there.
Yeah, and it echoed in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Classic.
I don't know. It was a good like kind of, I don't know. It was a good like little part of the neighborhood. I think growing up, it gave us like a reason to stretch the legs instead of just being cooped up sometimes.
Yeah. Do your parents still have their house in Kentucky there?
No, they sold that a few years ago. Like,
oh yeah,
a handful of years ago.
What's kind of funny is my wife found this piece of like kids play set, kind of outdoor, like little slide climbing thing.
Yeah.
The family that was selling it lived in your parents' house on Kentucky.
Really?
So
it was like, what? Like,
that's so random.
We got the address to go there, and I was like, God, that looks really familiar. And then it's like driving there, I was like, no shit. I was like, wow. And like I talked to the guy, I'm like, he's like, how long you lived here? He's like, oh, it's been like 3 or 4 years, whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, did you buy it from the Bugs? Like, yeah, we did. I was like, I've been in this house. Like,
that's awesome. Yeah, dude, I totally miss that house, man. Like that house was, I wish we could have done. How do I say this? I wish we could have done more in my house because it was such a good space.
Yeah, the basement was a cool setup. Yeah.
Yeah. But it like, it also had like, it had good yard space and stuff. It was just underutilized for like being able to hang out like as kids and stuff like that.
So like your dad didn't allow that.
Yeah. I was gonna say it was mostly just because of my old man, I suppose. He had that weird paradox of like, go outside and play, but stay off the lawn.
You're on the street.
Yeah, it's like, okay. But, yeah, dude, that house, man.
I remember one time that we were all at Jameson's doing Lord of the Rings marathon.
Yeah.
And of course you brought the garbage bag full of popcorn that your dad made. But he summoned us up to your house to help move the barbecue.
That's right.
Equipment or whatever that he had sold. And so there was like 5 of us because we're all at JMO's, and I remember that one guy who bought it was just smoking a Black and Mild, and James was like, dude, that guy's smoking a Black and Mild. It's like so random.
Fucking cool.
He's a 60-year-old man.
Yeah, that's like that's pretty that sounds pretty on par with my pops. Like I'll interact with your friends as long as they're doing something for me. Yeah,
it was a quick walk up the streets.
Yeah, that was always what was so nice about that, the whole area, and East Wenatchee in general is like I think all of our living spots were all of our houses were really accessible to each other for the most part.
Yeah.
So it made hanging out like really fucking easy.
Yeah. Do your parents still live in Wenatchee, or do they move away?
Yeah. Ironically, they live in like Fancher now, so they sold their. Yeah, it's so strange. It's so bizarre. Like they sold that house, and then bought like a random house up there. But now they're thinking about selling that house because there's like somebody. It's like classic Fancher, classic development thing. Somebody has been surveying the land right behind them, and so they're looking to build like more property right back there. and so like the whole like money in their house is like, I guess, you know, in their view of the valley, really. And so as soon as that gets obstructed, they're kind of screwed. But either way, it's they're doing their thing. I mean, like, my mom's like 5 years away from retirement, so once she retires, I think they're really gonna probably like do the RV thing. They already have like a nice camper that they've kind of got set up and whatnot. So I imagine that's the direction they're heading.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Oh man. Okay, so. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to. We're an hour and a half in. I think we should call it, but like in terms of the recording.
Yeah.
But guys, I'm gonna leave it off here. I'm gonna edit it probably before my ramble, you know. But let's just do a quick like, you know, toodaloo. Technically, we've done an episode, so we'll just wrap it up there. Hollywood Vines. Thank you so much for stopping in for this another fresh episode of Local Yokelz.
Oh yeah. Keep your stick on the ice.
Yeah. Keep